Today we're talking about Beyond Human. It's a Kickstarter game, and it's a Metroidvania style sci-fi esque shooter slash cyber sword game.
Yeah, with guns.
So, what were your initial thoughts on this game, Sean?
Beyond Human. It has a lot of potential. First impressions are pretty good, like as far as like the first screen, like the aesthetics and the pixel art is pretty pleasing. It looks pretty well made. It's obvious a lot of love has went into the game.
Well, I really enjoyed this game right from the beginning. I think the presentation is really cool. I like how there's not a lot of story that bogs us down, and we just get right into the action. At first, it feels really simplistic. It is kind of Metroid style, because basically you can shoot from two different heights where you can crouch and stand, and then it's just you realize the first couple enemies are really easy to kill, but as you make your way, you'll find more enemies and new abilities, and I just really like the. At first, it didn't seem as gory as it actually is, because the game gets pretty dark and violent later on. But one of the things that kind of jumped out at me as a negative is the wall crawling enemies. These purple.
The
Turrets.
turrets.
Turrets. And the reason is because there's not really a kind of skill to killing them. It's just repetitive waiting for them to be at your right angle to shoot them.
That is
and
very true.
At first, it's kind of like, yeah, it's a new enemy, but they respawn all the time, and that's another problem I have with this game is the way the spawning works. Because there's certain enemies I get that you have to have them respawn. But,
Everything respawns.
Everything respawns. And even like what I thought was like a mini boss was this like big purple robot thing with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
That doesn't disappear for good. Like after you get the ability in the next room, I forget what it was, but you come back and he's just there. And it's really
I didn't even beat him. I kind of just dashed past him.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was presented like, oh wow, this is the first like really difficult enemy. But
it is. You're not supposed to beat him yet, but
the game took a lot of time to beat him. It was the game kind of suffers from some like gameplay mechanics that don't really work that well. Just little things like the spawning. And then specific enemies, like I mentioned the wall crawlers, but the part that really did it for me was the gray alien boss.
Oh, we'll get to that at the end.
Yeah, sure. But I thought that the good things that I really liked was just the atmosphere. The combat felt really fluent. I really loved the sword. It felt really cool, slicing people in half. So yeah, it is kind of a Metroidvania-esque game, and I'm interested to see like what the story's kind of like, even though I like how they keep it really light in the demo.
I thought it was cool that I guess the color palette in general, from the first screen you can tell it's a good color palette. The minimap is the same like teal blue as like your suit and kind of like the lights. I was thinking, hey, maybe they're trying to get at like this mini map is like on your suit, so your character's actually looking at it. But then I saw the green life bar, and it's like, that's not blue. What is that?
Yeah, the health bar is a little deceiving because it's very easy to die in this game, and that kind of comes to the challenge. Yeah, which is fine. It's just if you're gonna have the time to kill that short, you have to make the enemies balanced, and that's kind of something the game suffers from. While some of the enemies work really well, like the purple Genjis, as I call them.
Oh yeah, those.
I thought there were like a little too many of them.
Oh
Like,
yeah, they started
there's one
throwing
room
that,
where
yeah.
they're just like, there's one room where they're just running everywhere, and I'm like, there should only be a couple of these guys because they're really fun to fight, but there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
And then there's a part in the game where you get a energy extender thing, but you have to go through all these rooms with this loud, obnoxious beeping siren. I don't know if you went to this place. It may have been like a bonus area, but I
Oh
literally
yeah.
had to just turn my speakers off because it was so like relentless. Just burn, 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 burn. You get the idea.
Yeah, I went there. Yeah, I thought that's like, and it ended up being just a dead end, and then you find like a secret with like extra energy.
Yeah,
And
I was
like,
there
wait,
for
I
a
have
while
to-
thinking there was more.
Yeah,
There was gonna
exactly.
be more.
It's like I had to walk all the way back. What? Have they played Dark Souls? Dark Souls has amazing world design. Every game can learn from that game, except for the whole dropping currency thing. But you know. That's
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that. How do you feel about the dropping
Alright.
all of your money when you die, or most
Well,
of it?
In a Metroidvania, if you end up going the wrong way or finding something that you're not ready for and then you die, you have to go back to get like half your currency back. Granted, it's not all of your currency, but it's enough to where you'd get annoyed. Like,
Yeah.
What if you want to try going a different path? I have more of a problem with the fact that there's currency in the first place. That, like, part of a Metroidvania is finding new abilities and upgrades that the game gives you during, like, certain sections of the game that kind of opens up new paths or previous paths. But you find these artifacts, I think they're called artifacts, that just give you a shop and you can upgrade stuff. It's for combat, granted, but so was Metroid. Metroid gave you combat upgrades. It just doesn't feel good to have to buy it yourself and get all this currency. Like when you get the upgrade that lets you dash, that was awesome. Just do more of that.
I don't have a problem with the currency as much as I do the shop, because you're not given any sort of notification when new items are put in the shop. Because if the whole
That's
Dark
true.
Souls dropping your stuff thing didn't happen, I'd be like, fine, okay, I'll get all the money I need to buy a new ability. And you know, it's a sci-fi game, so it sort of makes sense. Like you're downloading some sort of ability if you're a robot, I don't know. But
Yeah.
but I kept going to the same shop like 3 times, and then there was just that one shotgun upgrade. And then later on, I don't know when, I just checked it again, and there were like 4 abilities. So it'd be cool if there was some sort of like alert to know when there's new things in the shop. But it kind of leads me to the whole thing about the spawning problem, is I can just farm my currency if I really wanted to.
Yeah,
With
and then,
like the wall crawlers and stuff.
yeah, and then there's no point in putting grinding in a game.
In a game like that, yeah, because it does have a really good sense of progression with how it introduces you to new things. Like, you know, there's the down falling through platforms thing. If you are holding down and you click like A,
Yeah.
and then there's also getting the sword to break through doors. Like, I like that kind of progression, because it makes you
Yeah.
feel like, oh, now that I have this, I can go do that thing that I saw earlier. Like, that is like what makes a Metroidvania game special to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it did that pretty well once you got the sword, because you're like, oh crap, I can break these red things now. Because something the game did do right is, like, for instance, once you got the dash, the only way to get out of there was to dash up and then to dash out of progressively harder, like, electric fields or zaps, whatever they are. That's something Metroid did as well, so it was nice seeing that they took that from Metroid. as an influence.
I think the only other thing I have to comment now on is this boss, which kind of ended the game on sort of a downer for me, because I stopped playing the demo at the gray alien.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because the presentation is great. I like how you walk in and there's all these dead bodies and stuff, and then there's the like science room with the tubes, or the, I don't know what you call them, canisters with like the little aliens inside, and then you're like, oh, there's one that's bigger than the rest. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It felt kind of Zelda, like Zelda, where, you know, you go into the boss room and the boss fight hasn't happened just yet. Like, you have to sort of trigger it to happen.
Yeah, and one of those had a Metroid in it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I noticed.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I do love its introduction. How like the alien just kind of like breaks out, and you're like, ah.
Yeah, but back to the whole time to kill thing. That's the whole problem. Is this alien basically, he has a lot of abilities, and even once you get down his abilities, it's just so hard to not die instantly, because you don't have a lot of health, and even if you dodge well and get a couple shots in on him, even like the shotgun, which I found to do a lot of damage, it just didn't do enough before I just died.
Oh, dude, even after that health upgrade, like before you fell, I think one of the tries, he actually like insta-killed me.
Oh, yeah?
With some kind of green stuff. Granted, he has 2 green moves, but one of those green moves insta-killed me.
Yeah, and one of the abilities where he just soaks up your bullets to shoot them back at you. I really don't like that kind of thing, because it's just milking the clock to like wait for him to stop doing that.
Oh, I didn't even know that was... Maybe that's what insta-killed me.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, what you can do is you can get on the other side of him and maybe hit him once with your sword, but you're just risking the whole match by doing that. Or fight, because he'll hit you and you'll die.
Yeah, but the way I beat him was just, I dashed past his moves and then past him, and then while... Sometimes he would, like, attack or charge an attack. And when he does that, he doesn't turn around, so you can just sword his back a bunch.
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up doing, and then, unless the small aliens, of course, like, jumped infinitely through me and killed me.
Yeah, that was another problem. But yeah, the whole thing, the biggest thing, too, is I think this happened with another enemy in the game, but I can't remember, is... It may have been that, like, purple robot thing with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Is, off-screen really projectiles.
Oh, definitely.
It's just not... Unless the speed of the projectiles isn't that fast, it's just dumb how it's like, oh, well, I don't see him. Oh my god, I'm dead! And I didn't even see him, and he killed me. Like, anything that's hurting you off-screen like that, I just think that they should either... nerf the enemy and make him slower, or not have that mechanic at all.
Yeah, and I ended up noticing the small aliens sometimes drop health even if you kill them. So...
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the alien chunks you even more than what I originally thought. And I'm like, wait, I'm getting health and I'm still dying?
Yeah.
What is this
That's
bull
definitely
crap?
true. Well, that's all I got. I'm excited to see where this game goes. I hope it reaches its goal on Kickstarter. I think it's pretty close, isn't it?
It's not that close. It's at it's not halfway, and there's 10 days to go.
Oh, geesh. Well, I had fun playing this game.
It was alright. It has a lot of problems. Like, in its current state, I would not back this game. I mean, just cause there's some things I haven't talked about yet, like level design. we talked some about level design. It's terrible level design. And enemy placement, that's part of the level design. Because one of the hallways, for instance, has like 3 of those enemies. Right? You know which one I'm talking about? It's one of the early hallways. There's 3 enemies.
Yeah.
One is higher than the other on some kind of box or whatever. It is literally impossible to approach them or make it past that without getting hit multiple times. Because, like, when you first enter, or whatever, if both of them shoot, the bottom enemy will shoot just above the ground, right? So you have to jump. The enemy above will shoot, in the air, so if you jump, you get hit. There's no winning. And if you go towards them, this is before you have the dash, so you can't just dash past the bullets. So it's like, well, there's literally nothing you can do except just rush in and take the damage.
That's true.
I do like... So the jump... the jump is nice. It reminded me of Hollow Knight, but not as tight. So I would say the jump... is variable depending on how long you push it. So that's good. I like the voice effect they added to doors you can't go through in yet. They blink and gives a nice, like, okay, I can't go through here yet. So I liked that they added that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I thought it was weird. The second room, there are stairs. Visibly stairs in the background. But you can't walk up there. Instead, you have to, like, jump onto the platforms that are attached to these stairs, but the stairs are in the background, so you can't climb them.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you notice that?
Yeah, I noticed that. That was dumb.
It felt really weird to me. I'm just walking through my notes here.
Yeah, sure.
When the enemies are first introduced to you, like there's just one standing in the middle of the hallway, and I mean you've never seen an enemy before, so it's kind of like a shock. Like, he's shooting multiple bullets at me, and he can crouch. Like there's no like leaning you into that. That's not as much of a problem as the sniper, because as soon as you enter one of the hallways, the sniper just kind of like aims and shoots right at you, and you have no idea what just happened.
Yeah.
And these are like in straight hallways, so it's like, how about giving a little bit of extra space in some of these rooms? Like some of this game takes place in hallways, just make it a bit more open.
Yeah. It definitely feels like the majority of it is just running through hallways.
Yeah. And I do like the dynamic events though. Like, you jump up and a platform collapses. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Except then you can literally just go to the next room, climb up, and you're in that. So that was completely pointless. Again, that's part of bad level design. Yeah, the enemies with the shields, they have the exact same shooting pattern as the normal enemies. The only difference is they have a different color, which is cool. They look cool and they have a shield, but they have the same shooting pattern, same bullets, everything. I thought that was a little strange, but... And to go along with your turret thing, yeah, I completely agree with the turrets, especially since you can't shoot up or anything, or diagonal, or... If you could shoot up, that would fix the problem.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. It feels like the combat, even though I like its simplicity, it also kind of could be a downside, because... In terms of shooting, because you can only shoot at basically 2, if you're standing or crouching.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's just one of the things that happens because it's early game, or because it's just the way the game is.
Probably just the way the game is.
Well, then I'm gonna go kill myself.
Oh no.
That's not funny. People shouldn't joke about that.
Alright, well, speaking of dynamic events, after forget, after you get the dash, you fall back down, and then you see another dynamic event, which is really cool. Like, an enemy gets grabbed by something, and you're like, what? What is that? And so you go in, and, oh, hey, look, a giant fireball that instantly hits you, and then you die. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
It's like this alien creature.
Yeah, I remember that.
But
That was
then I'm
kinda
like,
dumb.
yeah, and I'm like, first of all, that's in a hallway. How am I?
And
This
then I
is the
tried
whole-
to search for him and I couldn't find him.
Exactly, he's gone because you find him later. You find him after the alien boss, actually, and he doesn't disappear. You actually have to beat him that time. And of course, he's hard. That alien is ridiculous. It is more difficult than the gray alien. It's just cause with the gray alien, yeah, you can just dash behind him and just hit him, and so there's a chance. But with this alien, he like goes underground, and it's like you think you might not get hit, but you get hit. So that's a problem. I like that dynamic event though. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
That actually might be it. Oh, from the first room, I noticed this. When you go through doors, you transition through the door before you actually enter the door.
Really?
That was a bit jarring for me at first.
Can't even remember that.
Yeah, maybe it's just... I mean... Yeah. I write too much in my notes.
That's never good.
But yeah, with...
I don't know what I was gonna say there.
Oh gosh. But I mean...
Cut that.
I mean, yeah, just... Overall... The game has a lot of potential, but it has poor level design and enemy placement. And I would love to see this game, but like part of it redone essentially. Like it has some of I love dynamic events. I feel like adding those to like a Metroidvania could really spice up the genre. But you can't sacrifice level design for that.
That's true.
Even if you do make it a bit more linear, which this demo was a bit more linear, I'm completely fine with that, you know, if it's for the sake of spicing it up.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential, so...
Me too.
That is...
I'd like to see what the rest of this game would look like.
If you like what you see, make sure you back it up, I guess. Or if you like us, you should back us up, because we typically are lonely. So we need some people on our mailing list and our Patreon.
That's true. Very lonely.
Please help us.
We have like 20 subscribers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have about that many on our mailing list as well. I mean, our website has our videos plus any articles to accompany the videos, which is why the mailing list will keep you updated with all our sexy content. And any of collaborations. Our website will have collaborations on it from other channels.
We don't have a sponsor, but wouldn't you be glad if we did?
We don't know how to end videos.